Hi, hello, welcome back to Emily A to Z, or welcome. My name is Emily. This is my channel. Today is B for busy because I have 15 minutes or less to get this video done, and canonically, it takes me 45. So let's do this. Today's video is my June TBR. I know I never posted a May one. We don't talk about May. The end of April got away from me. I didn't post anything on time for the month of May, and by the time I did, it was too late. So I have the May footage. It will never see the light of day. Sorry, not sorry. That's just how it is. I will do a combined April and May reading wrap up since I didn't read as many books in May. So that's coming. No worries. But if you were ever looking for a May TBR, it's done and gone. Goodbye. Welcome to June. And happy Pride. June is going to be stressful and long. I have a lot of books I want to try and read, and I don't think it's going to happen because I am going to also be on vacation during the month of June. And yeah, so really I'm just going to be focusing on reading my books for my family book club and definitely what I need to read for Magical Stitches. But I'm not going to be putting a lot of pressure on myself for the month of June to actually read as much as I normally would, since I am going to be on vacation for about 2 weeks and traveling every single weekend, literally starting June 1st. So the day I'm filming this is Wednesday. I will be traveling starting June 1st, and I will literally be on the go or doing something for the first 4 weekends of June. There is always something on my calendar. So I'm a little busy in June. And happy Pride. So here we go. Let's get started. First and foremost, for the month of June, the book that everyone will be reading, if you choose to do so for Magical Stitches, is the novella called The Lost Sisters. It is considered book 1.5 in the Novels of Elfhame or the Folk of the Air series. It is a very short, 50-page novella told from Taryn's point of view. Taryn is Jude's twin sister, and it is Taryn attempting to say sorry to Jude. But she talks directly to you as the reader. You're supposed to be Jude. She is trying to apologize and explain her side of things. Her side of some of the events that happened in The Cruel Prince. Now, this is not necessary to read for you to understand the events of The Cruel Prince, nor is it necessary for the events that follow in The Wicked King or The Queen of Nothing. Not necessary at all. And I preface this because if you're in Magical Stitches, don't feel obligated to read it, especially because this particular novella is only available as a digital ebook or audiobook. Now, I am very lucky that my library has a copy of the digital ebook that I can borrow. I do not recommend that you go out and buy this, even if it is only a couple dollars. I don't recommend it. Since it is so short, I read it in about an hour on my Kindle, and I mean, it's fine, but it is not integral to the story, so I don't recommend that you go out and buy it. You will not gain anything or lose anything by choosing to read or not read this story. So if you don't want to read, view it as a month off. Take a little break. If you're desperate to read it or you really, really want to, get it from a library. Don't spend your money on it. That's my takeaway. Next, for Magical Stitches, of course, we have our challenges. And first off is our cover color challenge. And this month it is you need to read a book that has a tan, orange, or sky blue cover. Very very summer, very beachy. Yes, I know I've got blue. My hair is purple, whatever. I just did it done today. I'm very ADHD today, so keep it moving. So for tan, I have, as always, I try to have a couple options to physically show you. I try to pick a wide variety of genres and give an idea of what everything is. So if any of these books catch your eye, I do this because I want you to know that there are plenty of options available. I always find at least 3 books that fit each category. So that way you have options. I try to give a brief summary of it because I want you to know, if you don't know where to look, you don't have an interest, you don't have time, if you watch this video, you at least have an idea of what something is. So for my 3 tan books, I've got horror. This is Stephen King. This is The Regulators. He was writing as Richard Bachman. This is all about, essentially, we are set in this little Ohio town, and it's a peaceful, everything's fine, nothing is crazy. But then one day, an autistic boy who has been exposed to and possessed by a horrific otherworldly force of evil decides to run rampant in this town, I guess. I have not read it. I don't know anything else besides that. This is called Girlfriend on Mars. I also apologize for my light situation. I don't know. This is Girlfriend on Mars by Deborah Willis. I think it looks really funny. And this is basically a funny, poignant, and page-turning debut that skewers billionaire-funded space travel in a love story of interplanetary proportions. Amber Kivinen is moving to Mars. Or at least, she will be if she wins a chance to join Mars Now. She and 23 reality TV contestants from around the world, blah, 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 are competing for 2 seats on the first human-led mission to Mars sponsored by billionaire Geoff Task. So it seems like, similar to the other book I read, Life on Mars or whatever that book was, we've got more people who are trying to be on Mars for a TV show. And then our last hand cover, I found this, no idea what it is. This is called Stealing by Margaret Verbal. No idea. I found it. It's got shades of brown, so I grabbed it. This is a gripping gut punch of a novel about a Cherokee child removed from her family and sent to a Christian boarding school in the 1950s. An ambitious, eye-opening reckoning with history and small-town prejudices from Pulitzer Prize finalist Margaret Verbal. Jeez, that sounds utterly depressing. Moving on. Our orange covers. We've got a science fiction. I had horror and then 2 general fiction or maybe kind of a sci-fi. This is considered a science fiction. This is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I've heard of him. This is, are you happy with your life? These are the last words Jason Desson hears before the masked abductor knocks him unconscious, before he awakens to find himself strapped to a gurney surrounded by strangers in hazmat suits. Before a man Jason's never met smiles down at him and says, "Welcome back, my friend." So apparently this is where he wakes up. No one is who he knows. His wife is not his wife. His son was never born. Basically, he gets knocked out, wakes up, and nothing is as it seems. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. He wrote the Wayward Pines trilogy, which was also a show. I watched the show, never got to read the books, but I do want to. This is Mr. Splitfoot by Samantha Hunt. It is a horror novel. I'm assuming it is a Meet the Devil story. Rat. I just mixed their names together. Ruth and Nat, Rat, are 17, they're orphans, and they are developing an uncanny ability to talk to the dead. These talents bring them into the orbit of Mr. Bell, a con man with his own mystical interests. Together they embark on an unexpected journey that connects Meteor Sight's utopian community's lost mothers and the scar that maps its way across Ruth's face. That happens, and then apparently we jump in time because it says now we're decades later. Something happens, and this is going to be a subversive ghost story that is as haunting in its examination of family, motherhood, and love as it is in its conjuring of the unworldly. Sounds cool. And then I have another horror. There were quite a few orange horror books, so this was kind of easy. This is called Unbury Carol by Josh Malerman. I have no idea what it's about, but I do read Josh Malerman. I have read most of his works. I do want to read his works. This is... Carol Evers is a woman with a dark secret. She has died many times, but her many deaths are not final. They are comas, a waking slumber indistinguishable from death, each lasting days. Only 2 people know of Carol's eerie condition. One is her husband, who married Carol for her fortune, and when she lapses into another coma, plots to seize it by proclaiming her dead and quickly burying her alive. The other is her lost love, the infamous outlaw James Moxie. I'm stopping there because this is my book, and I don't want to know any more than that. That is enough to keep me intrigued. This does not sound like horror, but because Josh Malerman typically does write horror, it probably gets classified as that. But I could see... No, it's a fairy tale retelling. No wonder I'm drawn to it. The haunting story of a woman literally bringing herself back from the dead, Unbury Carol, is a twisted take on the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale that will stay with you long after you've turned the final page. Of course this calls to me and fairy tale retellings. And then finally a sky blue cover. I've got a couple more thrillers, or options. This is a fiction. This is called Find Me by Laura Vanderberg. This is a debut novel. A spellbinding, darkly funny tale of a young woman searching for her place in the world. unforgettable vision of a future America and spins a gripping, haunting story about a young woman's courageous search for herself and a way to love. Okay. I've got a romance. This is California Girls by Susan Mallory. Sky blue, literally. California sun shines not quite so bright for three sisters who get dumped in the same week. I don't read a lot of romance, but I know Susan Mallory. And then we have a mystery. This is The Long Way Home by Louise Penny. And this is set in Canada. We're following a retired former chief inspector of homicide. He's trying to read. He's chilling. But he gets interrupted, of course, because some lady comes up and says, hey, my husband hasn't come home. Quick. Come on, we got this. Moving forward, the next task for Magical Stitches is to read a book, a collection of poems or poetry or a novel set in verse. Now, I don't have any novels in verses right here, but I can give you several. I have read several. The ones that pop to mind for me, of course, is Amber McBride, Me Moth or Moth Me. I always mix them up, but that's the title. And then her Everyone Is So Good at Smiling. Those are both told in verse. Anything by Ellen Hopkins is told in verse. That's not true. I have a story here. This is told in verse. This is called Northwood. No idea what it is, but it's all the pages are black, and I am pumped. I grabbed this. This is Pain plus Desire plus the Deep Dark Woods equals a book so addictive you will inhale it in one breath. I don't need any more than that. Like dark haunted woods, that's my jam. Other options that I want to throw because I'm a big fan of her is, of course, Rupi Kaur. Milk and Honey is her first one, and then The Sun and Her Flowers, and then this is her newest, Homebody. I have not read her newest. I plan on basically reading all three of these this month, just back to back, and, being utterly destroyed emotionally, because that's what I like to do with my time, apparently. Finally, the last one is this is also one I grabbed because I just thought the title was funny. This is called I Could Pee on This and Other Poems by Cats. Then we've got our last prompt for Magical Stitches is, of course, our title word challenge, and the word for the month of June is guest. I have three options here. I've got The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkoff. A woman receives an unexpected visitor during a deadly snowstorm. She thought she was alone. Guess she's not. We've got The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is my pick. I will be reading this. It's the wedding of the year, but someone won't survive it. On a remote island off the coast of Ireland, guests gather to celebrate the wedding of Jules Keegan and Will Slater. And there we go. But everyone has a secret, and everyone has a motive, and someone won't leave this wedding alive. I'm running out of time. Then I have The Guest by Emma Klein. Bright green cover. This is Summer's coming to close on the east end of Long Island, and Alex is no longer welcome. A misstep at a dinner party, and the older man she's been staying with dismisses her with a ride to the train station and a ticket back to the city. Yikes. So she's got to figure out what to do after that. And that's all Magical Stitches. So then moving forward, my next top 20 horror book I currently have Gallows Hill, finally, by Darcy Coates. But my next one is House of Hunger, and also The Children on the Hill. I don't really dive into much of those right here because I have a whole video planned and where I will go in depth of each of those books, but just know those are the next two books I'm tackling. 3 if you include Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. Then for the family book club, right now it was me. I already told you we were doing The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is just the cover because I'm reading the book and I've already taken it out of its cover. After me is my mother-in-law, and I have no idea what she's going to pick, but she typically tends to go for like historical fiction, classically like historical women's fiction. So there we go. Then, or like classics. Next is the Read with Pride book club for my local library, and the June pick of the month is, of course, Heartstopper, which I think is adorable. I have never read Heartstopper. I have not watched any of it, but I know that it is a super cute graphic novel series following Charlie and Simon? Nope. I don't know. I'm looking. Let's see. Charlie and Nick. Charlie and Nick. Simon is Homo sapien Simon. I know it is following these two high school students and their like love story over multiple volumes of graphic novels. I'm excited. I don't normally read graphic novels. I have not read any of this, but I do want to read it. So I will be reading Heartstopper, which is super cute and exciting. Then we've got the Decades Challenge. Then for the month of June, the theme, the decade is the 1970s. This is another online book club that my library hosts. Their book is Burn Baby Burn by Meg Medina. And this is all about a young girl named Nora who turned 17 in the year 1977 in New York, which is right when the Son of Sam, that bad guy, was active. And it's following her as she comes of age, and it's super hot. There's arsons, there's blackouts, there's this bad guy, and that's the wrong motion, but I'm not going to do the motion of what weapon he uses. And it's all about her, but she's 17 and like the rent's due, and it's a single mom, but she's also got to think about college, and she doesn't know what to do. And then there's this cute guy that's interested in her. I am not reading that because the book I want to read, because I own it, and it is one of my 24 and 24, is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is also like a coming of age story. At first, Daisy is, getting older, and she sings, and she joins this like band called the Six, and it's a story of her in the band, and it's mixed media, I believe. It's like told in interviews and things like that. And I know that there was also a TV show made of this, but I was gifted this and I do want to read it. We're almost done. I am booking it. Okay, I don't need that. And then I don't have my Prime First Reads pick because it's not the first of the month yet. No idea. And then every other month I switch back and forth between getting out of my comfort zone and reading a nonfiction. And this month it is nonfiction, and I'm going to be reading The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. It is a doctor, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. It is all about how you heal with trauma, the brain, mind, and body, and the healing of trauma. It's following trauma is a fact of life. Veterans and their families deal with the painful aftermath of combat. 1 in 5 Americans has been molested. 1 in 4 grew up with an alcoholics. 1 in 3 couples have engaged in physical violence. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, one of the world's foremost experts on trauma, has spent over 3 decades working with survivors. In this book, he uses recent scientific advances to show how trauma literally reshapes both body and brain, compromising sufferers' capacities for pleasure, engagement, self-control, and trust. And then even he explores treatments and talking about recovery and the brain's natural neuroplasticity. And it's based off of his own research that he's done. And as someone who has been diagnosed with PTSD, this is very interesting to me and is something that I do want to read. I did try and read it in the past, but I was not at a place where I could mentally handle what it was saying. It was still very triggering to me. I think I'm at a much better place now, and I am very interested in this and continuing to grow and get better myself. So that's going to be my nonfiction pick, and I'm going to hopefully try and get my husband to read it as well. So I think we could have some really good discussions about it. And with that, we have to go to my son's sports practice. I've done it in less than 20 minutes according to my timer. I am done. I have to wrap it up. I will see you all very, very soon. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for, I was going to say reading, but you know what? Sure. Thank you for reading. Happy stitching, happy watching, reading, eating, doing, God damn it, whatever it is that makes you happy doing. Be easy with your hearts.